I still remember the sound of the rain that night. It was quiet, steady, almost peaceful, until I heard her voice. Soft. Whispering. Laughing. But she wasn't talking to me. People think betrayal is loud, shouting, crying, doors slamming. It isn't. It's silent. It creeps in through the smallest cracks, hiding behind familiar smiles and warm hugs. And when it finally reveals itself, it doesn't just break your heart, it kills something inside you that never grows back. My name's Daniel. I'm 38 years old. For 15 years, I believed I had the kind of marriage people envy. My wife, Emily, was my best friend. My home. My peace. And my actual best friend, Ryan, was more like a brother to me. We grew up together, built our careers side by side, even shared family dinners every weekend. Our lives were so intertwined that I never imagined betrayal could come from either of them. But I was wrong. Very wrong. It started with small things, phone calls that ended too quickly when I entered the room, messages deleted before I could see them, sudden late nights. At work. I told myself I was imagining it. That I was tired. That I trusted her. I wanted to believe in what we built together. But trust is a fragile thing. Once it starts to crack, every little noise sounds like proof. Every smile feels like a lie. The night I found out the truth, I didn't scream. I didn't break anything. I just stood there, frozen, staring at the two people I loved most. The woman who shared my bed and the man I once called my brother. That was the moment something inside me went cold. Not angry. Not broken. Just cold. I realized then that love wasn't enough. Loyalty wasn't guaranteed. And sometimes, the only way to heal isn't forgiveness, it's justice. So I did what any man in my position would do. I planned my revenge. And I made sure they would never forget the day they betrayed me. When Emily and I first met, I wasn't looking for love. I was focused on work, building my career, and trying to create something out of the chaos I grew up in. But she came into my life quietly, like a calm after a long storm. She had this way of making everything feel lighter. A simple smile from her could erase the worst day. We met at a friend's engagement party. She spilled wine on my shirt and laughed instead of apologizing. That laugh stayed with me. 3 months later, we were inseparable. A year after that, we were married. Our first home was small, but it felt perfect. We painted the walls ourselves, argued over furniture, and laughed until midnight sitting on unpacked boxes. Every morning, she'd make coffee while humming some song I never heard, and I'd watch her from the kitchen doorway, thinking how lucky I was. We built a life slowly, piece by piece. Weekend hikes, movie nights, and lazy Sundays spent doing absolutely nothing. When I got my promotion, she surprised me with a cake that said, "To my rock." When she landed her teaching job, I filled the living room with flowers. We were a team, or at least that's what I thought. Even after a decade, we still held hands in public. Friends used to say, "You two make marriage look easy." I believed them. But looking back, I see the small signs I ignored. The moments when she seemed distant, lost in thought. The times she said she was just tired, though her eyes told another story. I'd ask if something was wrong, and she'd smile and say, "No, I'm fine." And I believed her. Ryan, my best friend, was around a lot back then. He helped me renovate the backyard, joined us for barbecues, and often dropped by unannounced. Emily said she liked having him over because he brought good energy. I never questioned it. Why would I? He was like family. Sometimes, late at night, when I couldn't sleep, I'd find her texting. She always said it was a friend from school, or a student asking for help. I trusted her completely. It's strange how you can live beside someone for years and not truly see them. How love blinds you, not because you can't see the truth, but because you don't want to. I thought we had forever. But forever, I would soon learn, can end in a single moment. It began with a feeling I couldn't explain. Nothing solid. Nothing I could point to. Just a quiet unease that followed me everywhere. like a shadow that wouldn't leave. Emily had started acting different. She was still kind, still gentle, but distracted. She smiled less. Her hugs felt lighter, emptier somehow. When I asked if something was wrong, she'd say, "Just tired, Daniel. Work's been crazy." I wanted to believe her. I really did. Then the late nights began. At first, she said she was grading papers at school. Then it was helping a colleague with lesson plans. She'd come home past 10, smelling of perfume, not hers. That's when I started to pay attention. One Friday evening, she said she was meeting her coworkers for dinner. Something about the way she said it didn't sit right. Her voice was calm, but her eyes, they darted away too quickly. After she left, I called the restaurant she mentioned. They told me no reservation was made under her name. I waited up until midnight. When she came home, I asked how dinner was. She smiled, kissed me on the cheek, and said, "Exhausting." I nodded, pretending not to notice the faint trace of cologne on her jacket. That was the first time I realized my marriage wasn't what it seemed. A week later, I decided to look closer. I started small. Checking our phone bill, scanning through call logs. There it was, a number that appeared almost every day, always at odd hours. Sometimes late at night. Sometimes during her lunch breaks. I didn't recognize it. I saved the number, pretending nothing was wrong. The next morning, while Emily was showering, I called it. It rang twice before a familiar voice answered. "Yeah?" It was Ryan. I didn't speak. I just listened. He said, "Em? You there?" I hung up. My hands were shaking. For a long time, I just sat there, staring at the wall. Everything around me felt unreal. When she came out of the shower, smiling, wrapped in a towel, asking if I wanted coffee, I couldn't even look at her. That smile I once loved now felt like a weapon. Still, I needed proof. Solid proof. Because love makes you doubt your own senses. Over the next few weeks, I became a stranger in my own home. Watching. Listening. Collecting pieces of a puzzle I never wanted to solve. She changed her passwords. Started locking her phone. She took longer showers, kept her phone with her everywhere, even to the bathroom. One night, when she was asleep, I used her fingerprint to unlock her phone. My heart pounded like it was trying to escape my chest. I scrolled through her messages, most were deleted. But in the photo gallery, I found a hidden album. Inside were pictures, not explicit, but intimate enough to tell me everything. Her hand holding his. A selfie of them in a car, my car. And one photo that froze me completely, Emily, smiling, wearing the necklace I gave her on our 10th anniversary, sitting in Ryan's truck. I remember the silence in the room. The way the air felt heavy. It wasn't anger that hit me first, it was disbelief. 15 years of marriage, reduced to a series of lies captured on a phone screen. The next day, I didn't confront her. I watched. I let her lie. She told me she was going to her sister's. I followed her instead. She didn't go to her sister's house. She drove to a small motel on the edge of town. And 15 minutes later, Ryan's car pulled in beside hers. I didn't need to see more. I sat there, in my truck, gripping the steering wheel until my knuckles turned white. The world outside blurred, just the faint hum of passing cars and the steady thud of my heartbeat in my ears. That was the moment I stopped being the husband she betrayed, and started becoming the man she would regret crossing. The next morning, I woke before dawn. Emily was still asleep beside me, breathing softly, her hand resting on my chest like it always had. For a brief moment, I almost believed everything was still normal, that last night had been a nightmare. But then I remembered the motel. Ryan's truck. Her smile. I lay there, staring at the ceiling, wondering how someone could share your bed, your dreams, and still belong to someone else. How they could whisper, "I love you," while planning to meet another man. That morning, I didn't say a word. I got dressed, made her coffee, and kissed her goodbye before heading to work. She smiled, That same gentle smile that used to make my world feel right. Now it made my stomach twist. All day, I kept replaying everything in my mind. The way she used to look at me. The laughter we shared. The promises we made. And how, somewhere along the way, she had chosen to destroy it all. I told myself I needed to be sure. So I went back to the motel that evening, parked in the same place, and waited. The hours crawled by. At 8:42 p.m., her car pulled in again. A few minutes later, Ryan's headlights appeared. I watched them walk into the same room together. No hesitation. No guilt. Just two people too comfortable in their betrayal. Something inside me broke. But not loudly. Not violently. It was quiet, a clean break that left nothing but cold clarity behind. After an hour, I walked into the motel lobby and asked for a receipt for room 14. The clerk didn't question me, he handed it over without a word. That single piece of paper felt heavier than any truth I'd ever carried. When I drove home, the house felt different. Every photo on the wall, our wedding picture, our vacation memories, looked like scenes from someone else's life. A life built on lies. Emily came home late again that night. I was sitting in the living room, lights off, waiting. She froze when she saw me. "Daniel, you scared me. Why are you sitting in the dark?" I didn't answer right away. I just held up the motel receipt. Her face strained of color. For a long moment neither of us spoke. Finally, she whispered, "I can explain." I laughed, not out of humor, but disbelief. "Explain what, Emily? The late nights? The lies? Or how my best friend's truck keeps ending up next to your car?" Tears filled her eyes. "It just happened, Daniel. I didn't mean for it to, don't," I said quietly. "Don't insult me with excuses." She started crying, reaching for me, but I stepped back. I wasn't angry anymore. I was empty. Completely empty. She kept saying she was sorry. That she loved me. That it was a mistake. But love doesn't drive to motels. Love doesn't delete messages. Love doesn't laugh in the arms of your best friend while pretending to care for you. I let her cry. I let her drown in her own guilt. But inside, I was already planning. Because forgiveness wasn't an option. And anger wasn't enough. I wanted them to feel what I felt, the helplessness, the shame, the loss. Not through violence. Not through shouting. Through truth. Through exposure. So while she begged for forgiveness, I simply said, "It's over, Emily. But we're not done yet." She looked at me, confused, fear slowly replacing guilt. And I meant every word. The man she thought she had fooled was gone. What was left of me was colder, and far more dangerous. I did not act out of fury. I acted with purpose. Anger is loud. Purpose is quiet. I needed time to turn pain into a plan. Step 1 was evidence. Emotions are unreliable in court. I needed proof they could not deny. I already had photos on her phone and the motel receipt. That was a start. But I needed a pattern. A trail. A record. I hired a private investigator. Not to spy for salacious detail. To collect facts. He trailed them for 2 weeks. He took photos. He logged times. He recorded locations. All legal surveillance. Public places. Witness statements. He retrieved copies of receipts. He checked parking lot cameras where possible. The files came back in neat folders. Dates. Times. Files named and stamped. No emotion. Just facts. Step 2 was counsel. I met with a divorce lawyer the day after the PI sent his first report. I spread the evidence on the conference table like a map. The lawyer nodded. He saw what I already knew. He explained options. Custody. Assets. Alimony. The value of documented infidelity in our state. He also explained what would be useful later: time-stamped evidence, testimony that showed intent, bank records showing patterns of shared expenses or gifts, any use of my property, like the photo of my car and Ryan's selfie. We froze joint accounts. Quietly. I did not announce it. I did it through counsel. A phone call. Paperwork. The bank complied. Money is a weapon if mishandled. I made sure it could not be used against me. Step 3 was leverage. I wanted consequences that mirrored the betrayal. Not physical harm. Not threats. Exposure where it would hurt them most. For Emily, that meant her standing, her job, her reputation. For Ryan, it meant his career and his social standing. He had built himself on trust, in our circle and at